Good morning. So let's see if 9 a.m. is a better time for a live. And maybe it's not. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. But I think we're going to start scheduling these in the future. See how it goes. But today we're going to talk about something that is maybe a little touchy subject. Should you be befriending employees or not? And so there's a couple stories that I can share here. Hello, Asjad. Very nice to see you this morning or this evening on your side, probably. While we wait for some people to come in, sorry about that. Let me move to Do Not Disturb so I can't get called. 1 second. But anyway, what do you guys think? Should you be befriending your employees or not? And if so, why or why not? Curious to kind of get your guys' thoughts right now. But when I think about one person we had a couple years ago, this person was promoted into a managerial role. And I remember, some of the feedback that that was given from the people that reported to this guy. And they basically said, this is the guy that, you feel like he's your buddy, right? He's your buddy, you don't want to disappoint your buddy, right? Then at the same time, afterwards I checked, I went a little deeper on the people that gave that feedback. And, I said, how was the accountability? How was this person helping you grow? And they said, look, it was more so like this person was like our friend, right? So the issue with that is when I have my friends, I still hang out with my elementary school, my high school friends, my college friends, they see you differently. They see you in a different light, right? Like you can't, as a friend, you can't be the one that's out there saying you need to hit these goals, you need to be accountable to this company, you need to do this. You can't have the hard talks, right? And also they're not going to take you seriously too. And even if they do take you seriously, they're going to resent you, right? And I've worked with friends in the past, and there are situations where it does work out because the friends all have thick skin, like we give each other direct feedback, it works out, and we like taking the feedback, and they don't take it personally. But in many cases, like it's very difficult to work with someone, and you're gonna have these tense conversations. They might even be on a performance plan, they might get fired. Like when you do these things to your friends, they're human. In a lot of situations, they're gonna resent you for that. And that's why, like, it's to me, it's important that, in the companies that I have, it's not so much that that employees are friends. It's more so that employees are family. Okay, so family, they're gonna hold you accountable. Like when I look at myself growing up, like my mom holds me accountable to making sure that I'm potty trained, right? She makes sure that I'm doing my chores. Otherwise, I'm not gonna get my allowance. So she's holding me accountable. Same thing with my dad. And when I look at my uncles as well, when I stayed over at my cousin's place, they would also hold me accountable to keeping the place clean. And so there's that level of accountability where when you're part of family, you're taking care of each other, right? You feel like you're responsible to the other person, and so that's certainly how I feel. Like when I think about how do we kind of shape the culture around the company? How do we make sure that people are taken care of, that people are getting what they need, while the company is being taken care of as well, right? Because obviously, if you take care of the people in your company, the company is going to do better. So that's how I look at it. You're accountable to not only yourself, but you're accountable to your team too. And your team is your family. So when you look at it that way, it's a little different. So Astrad said, I tried friend with one of my writers, and they behaved terribly on future instructions. They never took care of additional instructions, so he had to fire him. So that's a perfect example. When you befriend them, they start to know that they can actually cut corners. They can, you assign them a deadline. It's like, oh, we're buddies. Let's go ahead and push the deadline, and you start to lose that level of control that you need to move the company faster, right? So you can't necessarily be friendly with everybody, or you can't be friends with it. You can certainly be friendly, okay? You can be friendly, but you got to treat them like family, not friends, okay? Because friends, that's a totally different dynamic, right? When you're in a relationship with somebody else, or when you're part of family, that's a different thing. They're going to be like, hey, like this is not okay. Like imagine when you're living with roommates. When you have an issue where someone's like leaving food in the refrigerator, what's going to happen is somebody else is going to complain, and you guys are going to have a serious talk about it. That's how a company basically runs, right? A family is basically like, I've talked to a bunch of other entrepreneurs. and actually on the Growth Everywhere podcast earlier this week, we actually had a husband and a wife team talk about their relationship and how they run it like a business. And I know someone else that does the same thing too, and they haven't argued for 20 years. So when you run, when you run your business like a family, right? Then, and also the other way around, when you run your family like a business, things get done quicker because everyone's holding each other accountable. Even when you have like kids in the picture too, you're having these weekly family meetings, everyone's holding each other accountable. So my final recommendation here is, guys, I've actually befriended people in the past. I've seen managers, people that are promoted into managerial roles, they've befriended employees, and then they start to kind of, not do so well, and the people that reported them weren't so much accountable anymore, and they were affected by that. Their numbers started to dip, and they didn't know what to do. They started flailing about, and they didn't know what to do, right? So, I've done it in the past. I would recommend that you are friendly with them, you treat them like family, but you do not befriend your employees. Because at the end of the day, whether you started your own company or you're an executive, you didn't come into this company to make new friends, because chances are you already have friends, and I would hope you have friends outside already. You have enough friends. You're not coming into a company to make more friends. You're coming into a company first and foremost to do a really good job, okay? And if you do make friends with people eventually, that's fine, but your ultimate goal first is to treat them like family and make sure that things get done, okay? So that's it today. Today's a more shorter one, but that's kind of my feedback around, should you actually befriend your employees? My answer is no. Again, finally, do a good job, make sure everyone does a good job, make sure you hold them accountable, treat them like family, and things will go a lot better. Trust me, I've made the mistakes in the past. I don't want you to make the same mistakes. And if you've made those mistakes in the past, this is just a good reminder. So that's it for today, and we will see you all tomorrow.